And let's roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out, let's roll out.
All right, y'all, welcome back. This is Food, Fitness, and Fun. This is episode 9 of season 2 or episode 33, wherever y'all are counting at. I don't even know if we should still be saying what number it is. I feel like we should just rock out from now on. Like,
yeah, it is what it is.
right. If you hear, you hear. Like, whatevs. So as always, this is Food, Fitness, and Fun with Dre.
What's good?
And I am JD. And we are back. I have a sponsored buy for us today. I went to Miami and I hit a little spot called B Bistro. And it was a cool little spot. And I had like these breakfast nachos. I didn't know that because the name was something totally different. And when I got it, it was like a lovely surprise. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll have this. This sounds cool. It's got like, guac on it and, creme fraiche and onions and all this cool stuff. All right, yeah, I'll have that. And then when the plate came, I was like, oh, veggie nachos? You know what I'm saying? Breakfast nachos? This is crazy. All right, breakfast nachos. Cool. So it had like a egg over easy. It had some cilantro on top.
Right.
It was cool. I never thought of breakfast nachos before. I don't know if it was the most healthy thing. There wasn't a lot of veggies on it. But it was cool. It was like it was a really cool way to remix nachos. So I obviously didn't make this. I never thought of it. That's why I thought it was a cool thing to throw up here. So I have a short video and a picture. I'll put that up there as always. And yeah, I mean, I never thought to have breakfast nachos before. You ever had breakfast nachos?
Nah. Are you gonna try to make it now?
Maybe. I mean, if I did, I'll be honest, I would throw veggies on it too though. Like there was cilantro, there was onions. I don't know if you can see the onions in the picture, but there were some onions. There wasn't a lot of cheese, there was corn. But I would probably veggie it out. Like I'd probably throw way more veggies in there.
Oh yeah. Somewhat
I
healthy.
like to. Yeah. But the egg was cool. The egg was cool. Instead of having like salsa, it had the egg, and the egg was on the runny side. It was like I said, it was over easy, so wasn't really like that. That yolk wasn't fully cooked. It was kind of runny.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But yeah, I'm not against making it. I can see it as a once in a while dish, maybe something to eat with baby girl. Like it was a brunch spot, so it made sense that it was a breakfast nachos. It's just funny because the title was something totally different. I'll try to go back and look at their menu and find out what they called it. But
right.
It was veggie. It was breakfast nachos, and I was like, oh, all right. Who'd have thought breakfast nachos was a thing? It was cool. Mm-hmm. I also don't go to brunch very often. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not the biggest brunch guy. I don't have anything against brunch. Just I'm usually either sleeping or busy, so brunch is not usually my thing. Because brunch is like 11 a.m. to like 4 p.m. and usually I'm either busy or getting ready for bed at that time. So I'm not really the biggest brunch guy, but it was cool, when in Rome, you know what I'm saying? So I was out there, we hit the brunch spot. So that was cool, you know what I'm saying? But never would have thought to do breakfast nachos. I'm curious if baby girl would like it. And I'm curious, listeners, have you had breakfast nachos before? Are you big on brunch? Let us know. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think, because I never would have thought to have breakfast nachos. That's why I've been waiting to put it up here, because I was like, breakfast nachos never would have crossed my mind. Like, because to me, nachos is a pig out dish. Even when me and baby girl do like the cauliflower popcorn chicken or buffalo chicken style, it's usually, it's still a pig out dish for us, even though it's vegetable based and we make the guac normally and load it on there. It's not something I'd eat for breakfast. I never thought of that. And if I ate it for breakfast, it's just because I was being a nasty motherfucker. Like, yo, fuck it, I want nachos today for breakfast. Like, I never thought to throw an egg on there and make it a breakfast dish. Like,
right.
It was cool. Super different for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll throw it up there as we do. And yeah, that's it. So speaking of food, there's a topic that I hear a lot and you hear a lot in the workout community about carbs. People are
Yeah.
always concerned with carbs. Carbs are bad. Carbs are the enemy. Hey, hey, be careful. You don't want to eat too many carbs.
Right.
And carbs are painted as the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because even in the vegetarian community, it's mostly carbs. Like you mostly eat vegetables and carbs because we don't eat meat. So it's like, well, for me, that conversation doesn't exist, right?
Exactly.
I just start on my side. Yeah, as a vegetarian, it's like, well, all I got is carbs and veggies. So I don't know. I don't know what else y'all want me to eat. Plus, there are veggies that y'all deem as carbs, right? Like potatoes, sweet potatoes. It's carbs. So I don't know what they would want me to eat. So for me, that conversation has been irrelevant for quite some time, pretty much since I started in the fitness community, because in 2013, I both became vegetarian and started working out. So off the rip for me, carbs wasn't a conversation. It's like, oh, they talk about carbs again? All right, whatever. I'm going to go
Yeah.
do my thing. But I know that you have dabbled in the workout community both as a vegetarian and not as a vegetarian. And I know
Right.
at one point your aim was to be slim and cut, and another time now your aim is to not be slim and cut. And I know that also right now you're eating meat and you've been in the workout community way longer than I have. So I'm curious to see what you think about that as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. First of all, everything is carbs. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, like even vegetables are carbohydrates,
Right.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's also kind of like giving people mixed messages because just like they say, oh, carbs are the enemy. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you have dietitians, USDA saying, oh, eat more complex carbohydrates, right? And
Right.
so now people are like, well, okay, so I can have carbs, but they have to be complex. Like, what is that?
Right.
Nobody really knows what that is. And it seems they're always making up these like new terms to try to redefine food.
Well, that's the name
Um,
of the game, baby. The remix.
yeah,
You know what I'm
it's just
saying?
keep redefining food, and this one is bad, this one is good. And so I
Mm-hmm.
guess what people really mean is simple carbs, and then
Mm-hmm.
they say like complex. So a complex carbohydrate, I guess, would be like your salad, right? It's like, oh yeah, you want to have, green leafy veg and corn
Mm-hmm.
and like, some beans, stuff like that.
Yep.
And when they say avoid carbs, what they really are trying to say is avoid simple carbs. And when they
Mm-hmm.
say avoid simple carbs, what they're really trying to say is sugar. You know what I mean?
Ah.
So it's not so much, oh, avoid carbs, I have carbs, is avoid simple or processed sugar, right?
Now we talking.
Yeah, because that's really what people are really trying to say. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, this whole like avoid carbs is just a mistake. You need carbs, right? Carbs are
Yep.
one of the three basic macronutrients that you need. It's proteins, carbs, and fats. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta get carbs. You get some people want to have low carbs, that's fine. If that's what you
Mm-hmm.
into, the whole keto diet thing, that's the low carbs or no carbs. But
Hate that stupid shit.
yeah, me too. Because the thing is your brain like needs carbs. I
Of
once
course.
tried to go do keto. It wasn't even called keto at the time. It's the same diet, but it has a different name. So back in the days, it was called the Atkins diet, and it's still called the Atkins diet, but now they
Yeah,
just
I've
call
heard that.
the Atkins diet keto. But
Mm-hmm.
I tried that, man, and I had terrible headaches for like days. And
Right.
I remember everyone saying, no, you just got to keep going with it. No, keep sticking it out. Keep doing
Right.
it. No, keep doing it. It'll get better. It'll get better. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't getting better. And the only time it got better is when I had a piece of bread. Like, yo, now it's better.
Right.
And I didn't understand at the time, but I certainly do now, is that yeah, my brain needed carbohydrates.
Right.
Even when I like fast, if I'm fasting and I'm going through it, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do complex stuff with my brain. I
Mm-hmm.
can't sit there and maybe like bang out emails or do anything that's really like brain oriented. I gotta do really simple stuff, or I could ride a bike. I could, maybe lift a weight or something, but I can't do too
Right.
much without carbohydrates. Like your
Uh
body
huh.
really needs those carbohydrates. So, um, I just think that it's a mistake to totally eliminate carbohydrates. And if you are trying to lose weight like we all are, then what you really want to avoid is simple or processed sugar, you
Right.
know, white sugar. You know what I'm saying? Because sugar in itself is not bad, but you think about sugar in nature is incredibly hard to get. Anything that is
Mm-hmm.
you consider to be sweet that's naturally made, um, it's surrounded by enormous amounts of fiber, right? So you take something
Mm-hmm.
like, you say, oh well, yeah, apples are sweet. Yeah, they are. But look how much you have to like get to, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to like chomp down a whole bag of apples. You might have
Nah.
two and just be like, I'm done,
Right.
right? And the reason why that is because even though it's sweet, it's loaded with all this fiber that fills you up.
Right.
An orange, the same thing. A banana. Bananas are
Yeah, I
very
remember we
sweet.
spoke about that on one of the pods. We spoke about
Yeah,
like you was like, I dare you to try to eat a bag of oranges.
right. It's not gonna happen, right?
Right.
So, you think about sugar cane. Sugar cane is like wood. You know what I'm saying? Before you can get to the sweet part of it, it's surrounded by all this like natural fiber.
Right.
So, man has found a way to crush that, granulate it, turn it into sugar. So now you don't have to go through the hard, arduous process of getting to the sugar. Somebody already did the work for you. And
Right.
that's why we all like, gain so much weight, because we're getting so much sugar in our diet from
Yeah.
everywhere you turn. Everything is like everything has sugar in it, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's not so much avoid carbs, more of try to avoid sugar as much as you possibly can, which is really hard because it's addicting. Everybody likes sugary stuff, your cookies, your donuts, whatever.
Absolutely.
You
Ice cream,
can't, yeah,
cakes.
ice cream, yeah, you can't avoid
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
We're all addicted at this point, so you just got to recognize
Yeah.
your addiction and try to cut it down as much as possible. um
Absolutely.
and I recommend that people don't avoid carbs. You need all three macronutrients.
Right.
Once again, proteins, carbs, and fats. Don't try to take fats out either. Your body needs these things.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Absolutely.
so. Um, yeah, don't avoid carbs. Get those carbs in your diet. And complex carbs is not a real thing. It's just something that somebody made. Just
All right.
yeah, get as the thing is as little processed as possible. As much as you can get stuff that like just grows and you can eat it. That's
Right.
good. As you always say, you don't want it to be stepped on. It's
That's
less
right.
less steps.
That's
The
right.
less steps, the better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I was like, oh, maybe I'll read to them what complex carbohydrates means and what simple carbohydrates means. So I looked it up real quick, and Healthline has an article about it. It pretty much said the same shit you said. That's how I didn't even bother. I was like, oh, Dre broke it down. I don't even need to do it. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to be
Yeah.
helpful. Sit your ass down, boy. Ain't no need to do shit. You know what I'm saying? Dre got it. That's it. Let him run ISO. You know what I'm saying? Everybody move away. Let Dre do what he do. But it's for real. Like I try to throw on the glasses, throw the specs on and look it up real quick. I'm like, oh, let me try to be helpful. No, nigga, he got it. That's it. Nothing to do. Let that man shine. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I say, I do say, don't let it be stepped on, because people reference that a lot with drugs, right? When it's
Yeah, I know.
drugs, it's like, oh, you want that pure cocaine. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that shit to be stepped on. We
Right.
all seen all the movies where they're like,
Right.
oh, nah, that shit is stepped on. Or the
Right.
opposite, they're like, oh, this is pure. This hasn't been stepped on yet.
Yeah. That's
And,
that blue magic.
you know what I'm saying? It's that blue magic, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's right. So I try to apply that same drug theory to food. When I talk to people about food, I'm like, yeah, but You don't need to get the apples from over here. You don't need to have this or that. You want it straight from the source as much as possible, which is really hard in this country because everything is Monsanto and GMO, and that's a whole topic for another time. But if you can get the things as pure as possible, that's what you want, right? Uh, like you said, a lot of it does have sugar. Even when I looked it up, it was saying fruits, vegetables, grains, all these different things that do include sugar. And I think you hit it on the head. You know what I'm saying? Like when you said the idea is to reduce the sugar intake, that is really the key. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, everything has sugar. Even if you buy the quote unquote healthy breads, when you go get like I think it's called Arnold. That's one of the brands that I like.
Yeah,
It's got like they got like the shorter bread, but it's like packed with nutrients and multi-grain. They have it made out of oats and all this different stuff. When you look it up, it's got sugar. Everything
of
has
course.
sugar.
Yeah,
So yeah, when you get that natural sugar though, it processes differently in your body. And that's really what you want, right? You want to be able to have that natural sugar more than that processed sugar, because anything processed is, as we say, stepped on, right? It's being
right.
altered, remixed, processed, changed up, and you don't want those extra additives. Now, if you're having a straight up potato, and there's nothing wrong with that. One of my boys, he eats sweet potatoes all the time. He loves sweet potatoes. That guy is super thin. It's because he's not a big person on sweets and other things. So yeah, he might be eating lots of quote unquote carbs, but he has a very balanced diet, and he's not eating the crap like I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is a pint of what? Oh, this
Right.
is crazy. I love it. You bought me 2 pints. Oh, it's crazy. But the more you do that, the more weight you're putting on, and the more processed junk is in you. And as far as our body has a filtration system, yes, but the more processed stuff you put in it, the harder it is to get out. If you go eat a bowl of salad, that salad's coming right out.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna have too many problems. Now you go out, start ordering, you eat all the processed stuff, the fast food, it takes longer. Why? Because they're not natural ingredients. Then they're
Yeah.
being processed and changed and molded and all of these different things, which the FDA allows for various reasons, and then you eat it, but the damage is doing to your body, it's staying in your body. So you're walking around with it. So while you're saying, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, that pint of ice cream is staying in my system for way longer than a salad would. Or like Dre said, those 2 apples, right? Those 2 apples, they're coming right out. The body don't need to do much with it.
Right.
The machine inside of you, that not literally a machine, but the cells inside of your body, the systems inside your body that process everything that we put in, it takes way less time to process this natural sugar, these natural foods. So it's something that we all have to keep in mind. Yeah, the sugar is everywhere, but we all need to work on, including myself, especially myself, decreasing the amount of processed sugar. That is really
Right.
the enemy, not the carbs itself.
Right. Yeah. And when people are talking about carbs, because it's funny when you said about the sweet potato, potatoes, rice. You know,
Hmm.
I know I get that people are calling these things carbs now or complex carbs now, but back in the days we gave it a simple name and it was called starch.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we demonize the name of starch,
Hmm.
because I think because people thought, oh, starchy foods make you fat. Don't eat too much starch, it's going to make you fat.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the starch, right? It's not the potato that's going to make you fat, because hey, go to Wendy's, get a baked potato.
Right.
I'm sure you're not going to have more than just, you can't go more than two. I've tried
Right.
this. You get full.
It
You're
is. Yeah.
full, right?
Right.
But that's the whole point. That's why a lot of um native communities, they lived off of potatoes.
Yep.
Ireland
Potatoes and
was,
corn.
yeah, Ireland was devastated when they had the potato famine. People
Yep.
starved to death because they had
Yep.
no potatoes. Like
Yep.
potatoes could last you for the whole day. You have one of them. Feed the whole
Yep.
family with potatoes. So
You know what I'm saying?
starch isn't something that makes you fat. The problem was we like condiments and shit. right?
Right.
So
I was
it's
gonna say
not,
the additives.
yeah, it's not the starch, it's the ketchup and shit that you put with the
Right.
starch.
That
It's
sour cream
the
and all of that
sour
other shit.
cream and all that other shit and the bacon bits and
Mhm. Oh,
you
I love
know,
those bacon bits.
yeah, all the crazy shit you put on your rice, you know what I'm saying? All the
Hmm.
crazy things you do to it. Once you fry the starch and make it a french fry, well,
Right.
yeah, you didn't change the um
Texture.
chemistry of it. You know what I'm saying? So now, yeah, it's a
Hmm.
whole nother thing. It's more of a fat than it is a starch because you fried it. You know,
Yep.
you get Chinese rice is fried rice. Okay, well, yeah, now it's mounds of fat on there. So
Hmm.
there wasn't, oh, the starch is the issue. You know, if you want, like Chinese people, for the most part, Asians are incredibly thin and they eat mounds of white rice,
Yep.
mounds and mounds and mounds of it. They
Yep.
normally don't fry it. That's something,
Yeah, they steam
for,
it.
yeah, they steam it. But fried rice is something for the American population,
Hmm.
Chinese stores and stuff like that. But yeah, they
Right.
steam the rice. They
Hmm.
eat very little meat, lots of rice, and they're all, just rails. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it can't be starch that's making you fat. It's the
Right.
stuff you put with it. So once again, I'm old school. So I did when I hear people, oh, complex carbs, and I'm like, so you talking about starch? You talking about
Yeah.
starch? Then
Yeah.
let's just call it starch. Remember that? It's
Well, that's
okay.
because things have become popular under different names. You know what I'm saying? It's like when the club had a bad name and they closed the club down and then they reinvent the club. You
Right.
know, they hook it all up.
Right.
And then after all of that, what you get a new
Right.
name. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So Club Starch closed and it
Mm-hmm.
became Club Carbohydrates. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then
Complex
right, I'm
carbohydrate.
about to say it. Then so now we on the next phase. You know what I'm saying? Club Carbs had to close down. Too many
Right.
shootouts at Club Carbs. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of violence
Yeah.
surrounding Club Carbs. So now, now we got complex carbs. For the complex folks. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
is. You can't. And when you hear complexes, let you know you're not going to be able to figure this out. It's too
Right.
difficult for you. So
Right. Well,
it's
that's the name of
complex.
the food game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The food industry wants to bamboozle us on a regular basis. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like,
Right.
oh, this one is low fat, but then you read it and it's like, yeah, but y'all put mad extra sugar in here. You know what I'm saying? Or the
Right.
opposites, like, oh, no sugar in this one. It's like, but y'all put mad extra fat shit in this one, so it's
Right.
not helping me.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No doubt.
that's that. So what's our next joint? What we got? Oh, you wanted to talk about resistance bands for a minute.
Yeah. You
So go
know,
ahead. I'll let you start this one.
I think resistance bands are okay
Hmm.
in a particular context. So I see people using resistance bands to maybe like help themselves do like pull ups or something like that.
Hmm.
Great for like a warm up. You put the resistance band on a bar and just kind of like warm up a muscle that you're working on. I think
Hmm.
it's good for that. What I don't think people understand is I see a lot of people, especially women, wearing the resistance bands like as they're working out.
Hmm.
Um, as if that's building muscle. And
Hmm.
I just think that they don't understand resistance bands don't build muscle. It just it
Hmm.
just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like if you say, okay, well, I'm gonna do these, I don't know, something for leg squats or whatever, and I'm gonna wear a resistance band so I can build more muscle. No. You're better off using weight and allowing the weight to let the muscle be challenged by the weight than a resistance band. You know,
Hmm.
I just feel like the resistance band is it adding muscle, and the only thing it's really doing is constricting your movement. And
Hmm.
in certain movements, when you're doing like squats or whatever, you really are trying to work on your balance. You know what I'm saying? And those little muscles that kind of keep you um, set and straight.
Hmm.
I don't think. I mean, a resistance band is not going to. It just doesn't. It is not going to build muscle. You know, and I think the whole thing is with, especially with women who say, "Oh, I just want to be toned. I just want to be toned." Toned is just a made up word to say I want to build muscle. And if you want to build muscle, build muscle. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And the fitness industry always finds ways to make people waste their money, and
Mhm.
the resistance band is a new way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I never used resistance bands until I went to physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And the resistance bands, from what I'm understanding and from my experience, they work with certain exercises. First of all, like you
Right.
can't use a resistance band for everything, and that is what I see a lot of. Right. So your example of like I'm gonna use it for squats. I don't know what it would do for squats because it's not really adding to your workout. The idea of a resistance band is for the exercise to be more challenging than when you're doing it with nothing, right? Like just like ankle weights and things of that nature. So it's to help add a little extra from what you would do if you were doing it by yourself. So uh it does do something. That's the first thing I'm gonna say, right? So it does help. It does take you to another level if you're doing certain exercises. Like I saw that you could do it with leg lifts. When I was at physical therapy, they had this one woman doing it with leg lifts. So she would lay flat. They had the resistance band set up, and she was pushing through as she was going up, and you could see how difficult it was as she was going up and down. Cool. And that makes sense because they're trying to build certain muscles or rebuild certain muscles, strengthen certain muscles for that woman.
Yeah.
That's fine. Now, I agree with you where the next level, if you're really trying to build, would be weights, right? So if you say, hey, there, with everything, there's levels, right? So there's doing it with nothing, right? And then there's okay, now I've added the resistance bands. Cool. But yeah, you eventually are going to need to graduate to adding some sort of weights if you really want to build the muscle. Now, I'm not going to argue does it build muscle or not. I don't know that answer. I do know that it will give you that resistance. Like we talk about resistance on a lot of the machines that we use and things of that nature. It does add a level of resistance. I can say that from experience and from what I've seen as well. It definitely does. It is harder to do the exercise, and there's also different uh, resistance levels within the resistance bands. Like when I
Right.
first started, they had me doing the exercise with nothing. Then there's okay, now use this green resistance band. I was like, oh yeah, this is a lot harder. I could feel it, and I can't really push as much. All right. Then
Right.
after a few weeks, there's like, okay, yeah, that first green one or whatever it was, that's light for you now. Now you're gonna use this one, and I could feel it again. Oh man, this is much more difficult. So yeah, but physical therapy, as you know, has you doing multiple things. I was not just using resistance bands. They also had me doing weights. They also had me doing things with body weight exercises. They were kind of like you say, attacking the muscles from different angles, you know? So, yeah, the resistance bands are cool. I think if you're working out at home, if you're very new to the game, I don't think there's anything wrong with resistance bands. But I do agree, eventually, you're going to have to graduate to some kind of weight or machine that's going to give you more resistance because simply just adding a little bit of resistance from the bands is not going to do the same thing as you would with the weights. And I would even say some things you don't need a resistance band for. Like you saying you seeing people doing it with squats. I don't know what the fuck a resistance band has to do with squats. Like I don't
Every
see how that would
yeah,
help at all.
yeah,
So go ahead.
every exercise I've seen people use those resistance bands. Now,
Mhm,
in a therapeutic setting that you're talking about, absolutely. I agree.
mhm,
I use them too. When I was in physical therapy for my shoulder, we did all these different exercises with
mhm.
different resistance bands, as you said. And my physical therapist knew that, I work out and was definitely telling me, okay, when you work out, work on this, work on that. Let me know how it feels. Because
Right.
I would definitely tell him like I can't push as much as I want because the
Mhm.
shoulder is so bad, you know. And I had some good physical therapists. They really got it up, I'm kind of like pushing the way I used to, so it was
Right.
great. So I'm in a therapeutic setting. Yeah, I get it. Um, I would even say I get it. Maybe if you're just starting, maybe
Right.
it's
That's
like,
what I was
okay,
saying. Yeah.
maybe if you're just starting. But if your
Hmm.
goal is to say, I want to get toned, and
Hmm.
as I'm saying, toned is not a real word. Your toned is just a replacement word for saying I want to build muscle. Tone is a
Hmm.
word that was made up to get women to come into the gym because of course women don't want to look masculine. And so if you say go to the gym to build muscle, that I don't want to do that. Oh no, come get
Hmm.
toned. Oh, okay, yeah, I want to do that. So
Hmm.
it's the same thing. You're building muscle, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
um if you want to build muscle, then you have to do the things to build muscle. You got to get some good squats. And I think from what I'm saying is I see a lot of these exercises where the actual bands that they have around them constricts them. And the word I was looking for before is your stabilizers, right? When you're moving without those bands, that's a good thing because you're working
Hmm.
on your actual stabilizers. Sometimes they put these bands on and it restricts your movement. So for
Right.
certain exercises that you're doing, is actually getting in the way,
Yep.
So I'd say, hey, take the band off, put a little bit of weight on there, start with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever,
Right.
and work your way up rather than using a band. Now, like I said, I do like the bands as a sort of like assisting you. I do see the people doing pull-ups and stuff like that. The band is kind of giving them a little help pushing themselves out there because they haven't developed the muscle strength to do the actual exercise. So in that
Hmm.
case, okay, that's good, to help get you there. But eventually, just as you're saying, you want to be able to say, that's where I started. I don't need to use that anymore. I have
Right.
the strength to do the exercise the way it was intended. You
Right.
know.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that tone was used for that. I think, I mean, obviously I wasn't around when that happened. That predates my lifespan, but I think that is really interesting because, you know, there's a lot of different keywords or words that are used in the industry for marketability, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of words. Toned is obviously one of them, and they've been used so much at this point. They're popularized, and uh, we kind of, how can I explain? When we hear these words, we are conditioned to think of certain aesthetics,
Yeah.
right? So when we hear the word toned or lean, we think, oh, okay, yeah, slim and cut, right? Okay, cool. Someone like a ballet dancer, right? Someone who's like, okay, maybe on the slimmer side, but a very tight toned body, right? So
Yeah. Like a
it's
like a
interesting
Sha-
that they
like a
have,
Sharon Stone.
you know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? I know that's your favorite. So they have these buzzwords, you know what I'm saying? They have these buzzwords that we hear and we automatically in our mind align with these specific aesthetics. So yeah, toned is one, lean is another. They have all type of fly athletic terms that they have used, but really it's just different ways to sculpt the body, as you've already said, and it's different aesthetics. So I would not get lost too much in the semantics if you're
Right.
listening, because it's more about what your goals are. People ask me all the time, like, oh, I see your weight fluctuating, you're up, you're down, mediums, you stay in this kind of, you know it's like my weight fluctuates, but I
Right.
never really pass a certain size.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Ebb and a flow.
right, it's an ebb and a flow. And
Mhm.
people ask me like, oh, so what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get toned? Are you trying to do? And for me, it's more about aesthetics. When I answer the question, I often say, yeah, I'm trying to be slim and cut,
Right.
because I don't want to use a buzzword. I want to be descriptive and let you know what my goal is.
Right.
But goals change, and these words kind of really, they don't fucking matter, right? It's really about what your goals are. So if you're just starting and you want to use resistance bands, cool. My advice is, regardless whether you're using weights or resistance bands or something in between, my advice is to always, one, be mindful of what you're doing, like what you're adding, because for example, certain things you don't need anything. People are like, oh, I'm doing this, I should get ankle weights. I'm like, that ain't got shit to do with ankle weights. Like, if you're working on arms, what do you need ankle weights for? I don't understand. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be walking more, I think I should get wrist weights. I'm like, you can do what the fuck you want, but I don't know what I mean. Really, that's not even the muscles you're really truly working on when you're walking. Arms are not a big part of walking. So, you
Yeah.
know, be
Yeah.
mindful of what you're doing, and two, challenge yourself. That is the part that I think a lot of people misunderstand when we talk about gym and gym etiquette and just working out and fitness. It's like a lot of people think that, which we have said before, that it's like you have to kill yourself. It's like you don't have to kill yourself every time you work out, but you do have to challenge yourself. You should be pushing yourself. So if you're rocking out with resistance bands and you're just starting, I see you. I'm gonna let you. I'm
Yeah. Go
wrapping
ahead.
up.
Yeah.
If you're just starting and you're working resistance bands, cool. But just keep in mind that eventually you're gonna be limited, and you need to be able to push past that. Go
Right.
ahead, Dre.
Now here's the thing, and this is unfortunately an American mindset, is that every time we have a problem, we think to throw money at it. Right? There
Oh
has
yeah.
to be a thing that I can buy to
Oh
solve
yeah.
the problem. Right?
People literally say that all the time.
Right.
But
And
but
so
what can we buy to fix it?
right. And so it's like, okay, man, I gained a lot of weight. I need to fix that. I don't like that. So it has to be a bunch of things I have to buy now, right?
Right.
Where it's like we have the wrong mentality. It's not okay, go out and buy something, but it's not our fault because we've been programmed, as you just said, to believe that whatever problem you have, if you throw money at it, it can be fixed. And so all
Yes.
those buzzwords of toned and all that comes into play because there's a multi-million dollar market to get you to go out and buy something to solve this
Absolutely.
problem, you know,
Right.
rather than thinking about it critically, as you just said, to be like, okay, well, what's the issue? Okay, um, I don't feel strong. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually have to buy anything, you know.
Right.
You could just start thinking, oh, all right, listen, let's hit some push-ups. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That ain't gonna cost you a thing.
Absolutely.
You know, let's do some squats in the house. Ain't gonna cost you a thing. Now, if you want a gym membership because hey, maybe you already have one and you're not using it. Oh, well, then you should probably use it.
Right.
Or maybe you like the gym. Okay, fine. But we get into this, and I know it's because I see this all the time. I know you do too, with a lot of friends of mine, a lot of clients. Oh yeah, I should go pick up, this and that, and oh, I gotta buy this blender because
Yep.
blah 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 blah. I gotta
Yep.
go and get this particular piece of food or dietary supplement in order for
Yep.
me to, and it's like you got the wrong you got the wrong idea. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got to change your mindset, and I know it's not their fault because you're taught to consume.
Yep.
Everything in your life you're supposed to consume. You got an issue, consume something. You got
Yep.
another issue, consume something. That every consume, 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 consume. Like,
Absolutely.
stop for a minute, think about what got you here, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man, you don't have a lot of strength and you've gained a lot of weight. Well, what got you there? Well, it was the pandemic and I'm just in the house and I'm not doing anything. When I talk to clients, that's what I hear, even potential clients. When I'm
Right.
like, what got you here? I used to like to, dance. Okay. That sounds like something you need to get back into. Or I used to roller skate all the time. Well, there we go.
Right.
Yeah, when I was dancing, man, I was in great shape. Let me show you my pictures, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Oh, pictures look great. Yeah, why aren't you dancing anymore?
Right.
Like, these are the things that you got to kind of think about. Like, yeah,
Yep.
where your body is, it didn't come to overnight,
Right.
right? So you kind of think about what got you here and kind of
Mm-hmm.
work back in reverse, put some activity back into your life. And I know people might have like kids and stuff now, or you got this great job, but it takes 10 hours of your day.
Right.
Then, yes, start thinking about what you consume, what you eat. Maybe you drink too much.
Right.
Let me bring down the drinking. I know when I stopped drinking, like, man, I lost just without me. I mean, obviously I exercise, but when I said, okay, I'm gonna stop the drinking, it was like just wait to start to come off, because
Right.
alcohol is toxic, and so it's going to cause more fat.
Mm-hmm.
All these things you got to kind of think about without buying something first.
Right.
I know there's a commercial that somebody's watching. It's late at night, and it's like, "Hey, are you a fat fuck? Yeah, you need to
Yep.
buy this product so you can stop
Right.
being such a fat fuck." Oh, I am a
Yep.
fat fuck. Let me call
Right.
now.
Right. Let me give you three. Let me pay 3 installments of $59.99.
3 easy payments to not be
Right.
a fat fuck anymore.
Right. Right.
No, don't do that. Think about your lifestyle. Think about where you can fit some exercise in, and do it. Go back to
Right.
the things you really, really like to do.
Yep.
Find your me time. You know what I'm saying? Just for, and
Yes.
this might come out the wrong way. You might have to edit it, but
All right.
for just for a moment, find some of your time to be like, you know what? Fuck them kids for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Do
Oh,
you
no, I don't
for a
think you need
minute.
to edit that.
You know what I'm saying? Do
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Oh, I see with women because they get so, and the kids this and the kids, and that's, fathers too. Oh, the kids. You doing everything for got the kids in karate, you got the kids in tap, the kids is doing everything. What are
Right.
you doing for you?
Yep.
You got to get some me time. You got to take an opportunity to say, fuck them kids. When the kid is, I have a friend, it's like, when her child is in karate, it's like, well, guess what? You look 300 feet or less, there's Planet Fitness. Look
Right.
what you could be doing while
Right.
your child
At
is
the
in
same
karate.
time.
Right. 45 minutes there in class, it's 45 minutes you could be right there. You don't
Right.
even, it's just a walk right on the little mall.
Right.
That
Hello.
problem, that problem just fucking solved itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got $10 a month,
Right.
knock yourself out.
Right.
That's all. Yeah.
No, listen, and I think that's a great topic to speak about next week. We could dive more into the balance of being a parent and finding time to work out or finding time to yourself. It's really hard for people to find the work versus non-work, life. They call it work-life balance.
Yeah.
But it's also very hard to find the parent individual balance.
Right.
I know a lot of parents who, just like you said, they're consumed. They have so much going on. They're like, yo, Jay, I'm trying to get to the gym, but it's like such a task. And so I think we could speak about that, although we've touched on it lightly. I think it's a good topic for next week because it's time for us to wrap up here.
Yeah. It's cool.
But in the meantime, if you're listening and you're a parent, tell us what are your struggles. And if you're a parent who is able to work out regularly or something that you're working on, what do you do? So put it in the comments or send us a DM. We now have a Instagram account and we're working on getting a TikTok account. And our name is Food, Fitness, and Fun Pod. So, send us a DM, or if you're already following us, go on there and leave a comment and let us know what are some of your struggles. What are some of the things you're struggling with, or the opposite? What are some of the things that you're doing to get that time in? And to be clear, I don't think you need to edit fuck the kids, because really what you're saying is take a time out. You're not saying throw them in the trash or murder them or some crazy shit. What you're saying is take a moment to do the things that you need to do. And this is a great topic, and we'll definitely dive in on it next week. So that's it.
Let's roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out. Let's roll out.